small but very dedicated group of fundraisers. Dave Schramm was in charge in every possible way. He really put the group together. As best I recall, he added from the community Larry Marx and Michael Fain. And on the physics side, I think it was primarily Tom Applequist and me. And there probably were others whom I've forgotten, but we were the hardcore of the fundraising group. We were, as I look back on it, unbelievably successful, given the fact that none of us had engaged in such an endeavor on that scale before. The most, I don't know about you, Larry, the most I'd ever raised for any organization was the $50K that I helped with Randy raise for Beta Hall. And we were after $3 million, and to our surprise and delight, we got it. It really is, one cannot separate the efforts of the group from the efforts of David Schramm, who led us in every sort of way. It was his dedication, his inspiration, his continual staying with it, and his trying every conceivable avenue. But where I think he was most remarkably successful was with the local community, and to an extent that I don't think either of us imagined that one could be. My best memory of that time is going with Dave up to Marty Flug's house to make our pitch. And we had a long discussion en route. Well, how much should we ask for? What's realistic? How do we approach it? And so forth. And hadn't really made a firm decision on that. But we decided that Dave would make the pitch, and at some moment I would enter as the closer by making a very specific proposal to Marty. So Dave was just eloquent as usual in describing what we hoped to do and all the different ways that Marty had been helpful to the community and particularly to the music. And now wasn't it really the time of physics to get the full benefit of his attention? And then turned to me and I looked at Marty and I said, Marty, why don't you go for the gold? Give us $500,000. And that's the way it worked out.
I remember a dinner at Judy Barnard's and Michael Fain's, and just a small group, and David gave a presentation. Jerry Hosier was there, and I was sitting next to Mitzi Milius, his then girlfriend, and Jerry really was asking questions, and David was pretty good at his presentation and excited. Mitzi leaned over to me and said, he's going to give a whole bunch of money.
And she knew her man.
And she really did, we never dreamed either that it'd work out that well. But he was very excited and made it known pretty quickly that he'd be happy to give a bunch of money too. So.
Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of interesting because it was just a question of taking a story, which was a wonderful story and continues to be, the Aspen Center for Physics, but they had kept a very low profile for whatever reasons. I'm not sure, maybe just the nature of the beast, and getting that story out there to selected donors. And while it was kind of daunting, the thought of $3 million, I think the physicists tended to underestimate how good a salesman they could be if we just had them talk about it. And that's really all Michael and I did. We just connected potential donors with these group of people, and they did the selling. We were sort of the connecting, and I shouldn't say they did the selling. Selling sounds like the wrong word. It was the story that talked for itself and convinced the Jerry Hosiers and the Marty Flugs and the many people who did contribute to move forward. It really wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
You did a lot of bicycle rides with Marty.
I know. I mean, it was definitely, because I think the more people got to understand what the mission was and the people that were involved, it became an easier thing. So the last thing you wanted to do was go in and kind of hit someone on the head the way David did with Marty Flug. But Marty understood it early. You really wanted to get them to know the story and understand what the Physics Center was all about. And the money came in.
But I think you are being too modest about the role that you and Michael played, which was absolutely indispensable. You knew the community on the one hand, and on the other hand, you got to know us and educated us about how we should go about, as you said, not so much selling ourselves as conveying a message of what we're about, what we were capable of doing, what a difference the building would make, what a difference we had already made to the community and to the world of physics at large, and what a contribution we might be able to make given these much enhanced campus and physical facilities. And your role was critical.
Well, I mean, I agree in the sense that we were the connection, and we definitely were between the great story and the wealth that fortunately exists in this community that we were able to marshal to this. But I think you raised an interesting point, David, and I think there can be a tendency after having made that effort to get out there and keep the community informed about the great work you do here. And I think it's kind of important for all the physicists to remember that you still are, to a certain extent, a kind of an undiscovered secret in this community. And I think it should be more of an ongoing effort. I'm just throwing this out as an aside to keep yourselves in front of the community and how important you are to the community, the country, the whole progress of mankind.
Probably, I think you're right. I think we feel we are making the effort on the one hand with the Heinz Pagel's lectures, but
Right.
that's 5 evenings a summer and about 3 in the winter. The newest thing, the Physics for Kids, has been a
Yes.
wild success.
Yep.
And I think
You're
we're
right. You're
definitely getting
I
out
forgot.
to
Yep.
everybody in the community who has kids anywhere between about 6 and 15. That's going very well, but I think we can do more, and we should all work together to figure out what would be the most appropriate venue. Maybe it's a report to the community or a report to that very special part of the community that supported us so strongly, and do that
Right.
once a year and have a great good time at it at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know too many people who said no to David, but
Beginning with Judy.
I couldn't possibly resist.
he, imposing, larger than life, and just so darn personable. And you know, it's interesting because the world at large, which I put myself in, are kind of intimidated by physicists, because most of us did badly in physics at school and what have you. And to find someone who brought it all down to our level and make it so understandable, at least conceptually, was really delightful. So actually, there was literally no arm twisting, thank goodness, or I would have been severely hurt. The thought of working with David and the rest of the group, and just the whole idea of getting that story out there was. It really didn't require any arm twisting. We signed up. I mean, he was just a magnanimous guy, and you wanted to be part of it.
Did you already know him?
Judy, help me. When did we?
Well, we knew because
I know
we
we had
girls
met.
hiked.
Yeah, but I can't.
And we had lots of things where I included the husbands.
I think
and Judy and Michael's we met at
right,
their house.
and I
for
remember
dinner.
some event at Woody Creek Tavern long time ago.
Then there was a dinner party that Michael and Judy gave, at which you and Susan were present, and David and Judy, and Susie and me. And I remember we all hit it off
We
very
did.
well.
It was
Yeah,
sort of instant
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I don't think we did any
Yeah.
business
Right,
at that dinner,
right.
but it was
No,
just
But
it- but it
a
was a
chance
good-
to get to know one another.
That was one of the nice
Confidence
things.
building.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the committee worked well together because I think genuinely did like each other. genuinely did put our egos, behind, and whoever brought the bacon home, that was good. It didn't matter whose name was on it. And Michael is extraordinarily well organized and had been in the community longer than myself, and he definitely had a lot of great ideas in terms of people to contact, and we always employed a tag team, so that, because I sort of felt, coming from the financial world, that I knew what buttons to push financially, but couldn't really explain the mission the way these gentlemen could. So we nearly always visited people as a group, a physicist and a lay person, myself or Michael, and there were some other people who helped us. I believe Ed Hudson helped us, and I'm sure I'm leaving someone out, but we did function well as a team.
And of course, we're only talking about the local fundraising. Then there was the Tom Applequist fundraising, which was absolutely key in terms of contacting Doug Stone.
Larry and Susan also had a dinner party.
Yeah, I remember. That's
a year
what.
before.
Yeah.
And,
I can't remember too much.
David made a presentation.
Right. I remember David making the presentation, and Jerry being there, and Jerry was very enthused from the beginning, but it was pretty tricky as to actually how he was going to get the funds to us. And he was originally, I think, trying to involve, I think his name's Mr. Lemelson, the gentleman who Jerry represented, who has more patents on semiconductor technology than probably anyone in the world. And he's so that was kind of involved and complicated, but it was really, the more we let these gentlemen talk, the easier it became, because the message just was getting across. And the dinner party was, I don't really recall anything specific. Do you?
No.
I remember Mitzi. I remember Mitzi again. She was memorable.
Right. She was memorable. But it was very good. It created a lot of warmth in the room and a lot of interest in the Physics Center. That's what we created, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody got to know a little bit more about the Physics Center, and wondering always, what is that? What do they do over there?
Right, exactly. The black hole guys.
Right. And Pamela McAtee, she really kept everybody
She was great. She was
on schedule, and she really held everybody together.
Yeah. A wonderful mother hen. She
yes.
really.
And I think David really depended on her, and she did a great job in the organizing. Pamela McAtee was executive assistant. I think she was hired specifically for the fundraising.
She was.
For the campaign.
In the campaign, right. And she did a great job. It was a full-time job.
There has to be some catchword or something. You just can't say we want to build a new hall for the Physics Center. So, New Century, and I honestly don't recall which of us or what combination. I'm sure it was a process of writing down a lot of different names for what the campaign could be, but that's what we decided upon. And
it was a great name.
Yeah, and but back then it was, everyone was focused on the millennium, so it probably just popped into our heads without a great deal of anguish. But the campaign, Aspen is a philanthropic place for the right story, and there was no doubt in our mind this was the right story. It was really just a question of getting the story well known, and there's no use trying to complicate it and what have you. That's what it was all about, just getting the story out there to potential large donors, which Aspen has lots of. And that was really it.
We should not forget the role played by our own small donors, namely the present and former participants in the Physics Center, to whom we did go out for contributions who responded, I think, to a remarkable extent. As I recall, we had a kind of office pool about how much we might expect to raise from that group, and we exceeded it. The number I don't remember, but it was a few $100,000. $400,000, which again is quite amazing because this is a group that is accustomed to giving a few $100s to the United Way, or maybe in some cases a few thousand, and had, I think, for the most part, not contributed to any science-related endeavor. And here they were saying this was really important. This was a kind of payback for all of the great times they'd had doing physics here at the center, and a way of also, I think probably a little selfishly, ensuring their future at the center and making it a better and more promising future.